Welcome back, everyone, to a major breaking update from the world of professional tennis, one that has stunned the European sporting media and sent shockwaves through Spain's tennis community. What we're witnessing right now is not just another training update. This is a story of extreme discipline, relentless ambition, and a mentality that is rapidly becoming one of the most talked about narratives on the WTA Tour. Just hours after competing in the high-pressure environment of the Madrid Open, where the world's best gathered on the unique high-altitude clay of the Spanish capital, a major development emerged regarding the immediate actions of rising Filipina star Alexandra Eala. Most expected recovery. Most expected rest. A few days away from competition after the physical toll of a WTA 1000 event. Instead, what happened completely flipped that expectation. Eala did not pause. She did not rest. She immediately left Madrid and returned to Mallorca, heading straight into one of the most demanding training environments in professional tennis, the Rafa Nadal Academy. And she didn't arrive for downtime. She arrived to work. A statement that stunned Spain across Spanish tennis circles, from coaches to analysts to media desks. The reaction has been immediate and consistent. Unbelievable commitment. In a modern era where recovery science, load management, and scheduled rest are standard practice, Eala's decision stands out as almost old school in its intensity. Instead of decompressing after Madrid, she was already back on court in Manacor within 24 hours, on a Sunday, traditionally a travel or rest day on tour. That alone sent a strong message. She is not managing her season passively. She is attacking it. Why this transition matters: the move from Madrid to Mallorca is not just geographical, it is tactical. Madrid's clay courts are unique due to high altitude. The thinner air causes the ball to travel faster and bounce higher, creating a completely different rhythm compared to standard European clay events. By contrast, the Rafa Nadal Academy sits at sea level, where conditions are heavier, slower, and far more physically demanding. What Eala is doing is highly calculated, resetting her timing after Madrid's fast clay conditions, rebuilding muscle memory for heavy, slow court rallies, recalibrating movement patterns for long baseline exchanges, preparing for Rome and Roland Garros conditions. It is a rapid biomechanical reset between two completely different versions of clay court tennis. Inside the Nadal Academy system, training at the Rafa Nadal Academy is not routine practice. It is a structured philosophy built on endurance, discipline, and repetition under pressure. The environment is designed to replicate the demands of elite clay court tennis. Long, grinding baseline drills, high-intensity physical conditioning, repetitive topspin construction exercises, constant emphasis on patience and point building. It is widely known as one of the most demanding tennis development systems in the world, shaped around the principles of Rafael Nadal and his legendary success on clay. For Eala, entering this environment immediately after a WTA 1000 tournament signals something very clear. She is not treating Madrid as a conclusion. She is treating it as preparation. The tactical significance: from a performance standpoint, this decision is significant for three key reasons. 1. Physical recalibration. She avoids lingering in Madrid's fast clay rhythm and quickly adapts back to heavy rally conditions. 2. Technical refinement. The academy environment allows focused repetition on topspin, footwork, and point construction. 3. Psychological edge. While others recover, she is training, building an early season advantage in preparation and sharpness. This kind of immediate return to structured training is often what separates rising talents from long-term elite competitors. What it signals to the tour: the message being received across the WTA is simple. Eala is not here to participate, she is here to evolve. Every hour spent in Manacor reinforces that intent. Every session adds another layer to her clay court identity. And with major tournaments ahead in Rome and Roland Garros, this preparation phase could define her entire European swing. Final perspective: at just 20 years old, Alexandra Eala is already operating with a level of discipline typically seen in established champions. Madrid tested her. Mallorca is refining her. And the next stage of the clay season will reveal how far that transformation has gone. Because this isn't just about recovery anymore. It's about construction. And right now in Manacor, something serious is being built. The surface makes it brutally difficult to produce clean winners. On clay, especially in European conditions, points are rarely short. Instead, they are constructed slowly, brick by brick, through extended rallies that demand patience, precision, and physical endurance. It is not unusual for a single point to stretch into 10, 15, or even 20 shots before it finally resolves. In that environment, aggression alone is not enough. Timing, balance, and decision-making under fatigue become the true deciding factors. And yet, this is exactly the environment that Alexandra Eala has chosen to re-enter immediately after the emotional and physical intensity of her Madrid campaign. No pause. No recovery phase. No symbolic rest. Straight back into work. A decision that defines intent. What makes this moment so significant is not simply what she did, but when she did it. Just hours after competing in the demanding conditions of the Madrid Open, most expected a different path. A few days of recovery in Spain, light training, a reset before the next phase of the clay season. Instead, Eala returned directly to Mallorca and re-entered one of the most intense training environments in world tennis, the Rafa Nadal Academy. This was not a casual decision. It was a statement of intent. In a sport where rest and load management are carefully structured, this kind of immediate transition stands out. It signals urgency. It signals purpose. And above all, it signals a mindset that prioritizes improvement over comfort. Spain reacts. Discipline recognized within Spanish tennis circles. The reaction has been immediate and unmistakable. Spain has produced some of the greatest clay court players in history, and its tennis culture is built on a simple principle. Effort is everything. Not reputation. Not hype. Effort. So, when a young international player returns to Manacor immediately after a WTA 1000 event and walks straight onto the practice courts, it does not go unnoticed. It is interpreted as alignment with the culture of the academy shaped by Rafael Nadal, a culture defined by endurance, repetition, and relentless discipline. For many observers, the reaction is not surprise at her talent. It is recognition of her commitment. The physical reality of the transition. To understand the depth of this decision, it is important to understand what she is transitioning between. Madrid is unique on the tennis calendar. The high altitude causes the ball to travel faster and bounce higher, effectively speeding up clay court tennis and rewarding early strikes and aggressive timing. By contrast, Mallorca, home to the Rafa Nadal Academy, offers standard sea-level clay conditions, heavier, slower, and far more physically demanding. This means Eala is not simply continuing practice. She is actively resetting her entire playing rhythm. She is shifting from one version of clay court tennis to another in less than 48 hours. That requires both physical adaptability and advanced tactical awareness. Training at Manacor. Controlled intensity. The Rafa Nadal Academy is not a casual training facility. It is a system built on repetition, pressure simulation, and physical resilience. Inside this environment, training is structured around pushing players beyond comfort zones. Long baseline endurance drills, high-volume topspin repetition sessions, controlled point construction exercises, explosive movement, and recovery work. Constant emphasis on discipline under fatigue. Every detail is designed to simulate the physical reality of deep tournament matches. For Eala, this immediate return means stepping into an environment where improvement is not optional. It is enforced through structure and repetition. The technical rebuild. From a tactical perspective, this training block is highly specific. On clay, success is not defined by highlight shots, but by patterns that repeat consistently under pressure. In Manacor, her focus is likely centered on 1. Movement efficiency. Clay requires controlled sliding, low balance, and precise recovery. Unlike Madrid, where quicker conditions allow for faster point endings, sea-level clay demands full rally commitment. 2. Heavy spin generation. She must create higher RPMs on her forehand and backhand to push opponents behind the baseline and control the depth of exchanges. RPM is proportional to spin rate. Higher bounce and depth control. This translates directly into forcing opponents into uncomfortable hitting zones, especially on the backhand side. 3. Rally patience and construction. Points must be built progressively rather than finished early. This requires discipline in shot selection and emotional control during long exchanges. The psychological layer. Beyond technique, the most important shift is mental. Professional tennis is uniquely isolating. Players compete alone, with no teammates on court, managing momentum swings in real time under extreme pressure. After a tournament like Madrid, many players naturally enter recovery mode, mentally and emotionally stepping away from competition. Eala is doing the opposite. She is re-entering pressure immediately, but in a controlled environment. This reflects what sports psychologists describe as intrinsic hypermotivation, a drive rooted internally rather than triggered by external results or rankings. Instead of decompressing, she is reinforcing focus. Instead of detaching, she is doubling down. Competitive significance in a WTA ecosystem where the difference between top 10 and top 50 players is often razor-thin, these invisible training decisions matter enormously. While other players recover or travel, Eala is accumulating physical and mental repetition that will later surface in tight matches, especially in third sets where fatigue becomes decisive. This is where preparation becomes visible, not in practice, but in pressure moments. Strategic timing in the clay season. This training block is also strategically timed. With major tournaments ahead in Rome and the French Open at French Open, every day of preparation now directly impacts performance later. Clay does not reward improvisation. It rewards preparation. And this period in Mallorca functions as a bridge between adaptation and execution. The broader narrative, what is unfolding, is not just a training update. It is the development of a competitive identity. Eala is not reacting to results. She is building a system of continuous correction. Madrid exposed weaknesses. Mallorca is addressing them. And the upcoming European swing will test whether those adjustments hold under pressure. For fans in the Philippines and observers across Spain, this has become more than a sports story. It represents a young athlete actively shaping herself into a long-term contender through discipline rather than convenience. Final perspective: at just 20 years old, Alexandra Eala is already making decisions typically associated with seasoned champions. She is not avoiding discomfort. She is entering it intentionally. She is not waiting for improvement. She is constructing it. And in doing so, she is quietly building the foundation for what could become a defining clay court season. Because in tennis, talent opens the door. But decisions like this determine how far you walk through it.